This update is a serious relief as we have brand new confirmation surrounding Bam Adebayo and the severity of his injury suffered yesterday against the Atlanta Hawks. We'll break down all of the information covering that, as well as how the Miami Heat have played through the first five preseason games up to this point, with one preseason game remaining before they walk into the start of this NBA regular season in just 5 days. We'll break down all of that on this episode of Heat Digest, but first, please do remember to scroll down and click the subscribe button to stay up to date with everything Miami Heat and help us hit our new goal of 5,000 subscribers. We do appreciate the love and support, so thank you guys. But now let's get to it and break down a new look for this Miami Heat offense, as well as the updates on Bam Adebayo and the injury he suffered just yesterday against the Atlanta Hawks. Now, we got a quote from Erik Spoelstra discussing really his mentality when it originally happened and how he wanted to handle it going forward through yesterday's game. As he said, quote, "He just landed awkwardly, but he said he feels fine. We'll see when he gets back to Miami. As you saw, he was able to go back out there. I just wanted to make sure it didn't get any worse. So I chose to sit him from there." And that is the end of the quote from head coach Erik Spoelstra, who we all know was just named the official head coach of Team USA basketball. Always great to see Erik Spoelstra getting accolades in that sense, just adding to the list that he already has collected through his illustrious career. But then, so the questions about Bam Adebayo. He was taken out because he landed awkwardly. No one wanted to test anything. Bam said he felt fine to go back into the game against Atlanta. Spo allowed him to. It wasn't for very long before he then pulled Bam back out of the game and chose to sit him for the remainder of that period because he didn't want to test anything. He did not want to force anything. It was the fifth of the preseason games that the Miami Heat were playing. They only have one game remaining back at home at the Kaseya Center, and they didn't want to. There's no reason. With Tyler Hero down, it being a preseason game with Bam Adebayo being able to go out there and play in the 4.5 games prior to the game yesterday, there is absolutely no reason to rush him, especially if he just tweaked something when he did come down awkwardly. Now, post-game, we got this tweet from Ira Winderman confirming the severity of Bam's issue or injury, if you will. MRI not required for Bam Adebayo's knee, just a contusion. This is really the update we were all hoping to hear and read post-game following Bam Adebayo and the scare that he had in this game against the Atlanta Hawks with his knee when he landed awkwardly. So it's good to see. He's not going to miss any time, whether it's a small chunk of time or a month like Tyler Hero. He's going to be active. We have one game remaining in the preseason before the regular season will start in the following week for this Miami Heat team and the association in general for the NBA, as the 2025-2026 NBA regular season is right on the doorstep. So, with Bam Adebayo not having to miss any time, and Tyler Hero still going to be out for the first month of the NBA regular season, what does this Miami Heat team look like? How have they looked through the preseason up to this point? Well, it hasn't been great. They are 0-5 in 5 games in the preseason, with one final game remaining to make it their 6th game. So they can go 1-5 to round out the year, but the preseason, and the biggest conversation surrounding the Miami Heat through the preseason has been one name in specific, and that is Kel'el Ware. Every single time we discuss his name, or we have discussed his name in the last 2 weeks or so, the stats are great. The stats are actually phenomenal, whether it's against Victor Wembanyama, again, in the preseason and going out there and dropping a 20-point double-double or an 18-point and 13-rebound double-double with a block. But the plus-minus is where the fault continues to remain. We brought up and broke down how Erik Spoelstra called out Kel'el Ware because, yes, there's a 3-minute period during these games when he is very impactful, and the things he's doing on the basketball court are resulting and transitioning into production for the Miami Heat team, both offensively and defensively. But if you're playing 25 minutes or 22 minutes for that matter, because it's a preseason game, or even 18, or even 15 for that matter, like if there's only a 3-minute period out of all the minutes you play in a single basketball game where what you are doing is actually being impactful to your team in a positive way, no one really cares what your statistical numbers look like because you drop 60, but you still, and in the end, your plus minus is negative. you didn't produce winning basketball. So, and that was the conversation with Spoelstra. And Kel'el Ware, again, we broke it down on this channel. He accepted the challenge again. It's not the first time Spo has called out this young man for Miami. And since then, what have we seen? Well, 24-10 with 2 steals and an assist. 9 of 17 from the field, including 2 of 4 from behind the three-point line. A plus minus of -12. Again, it seems like despite the production, this was the first game, or excuse me, I should say the 4th game for the Heat, and I say the first because it was not last night's game against the Atlanta Hawks, as last night in 21 minutes, he had 6 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, no steals, and a block, with a plus minus of -17. 3 of 7 from the field. He missed both of his three-point shots and did not attempt a free throw. Overall, the plus-minus has translated. I believe 1 out of the 5 games in which Kel'el Ware has played in this preseason for the Miami Heat has resulted in a negative plus-minus. Yes, does he have the ability to go out there and produce statistically? Without a doubt. There's no question in my mind. He can go out there and give you a 20-point double-double with a block or a steal per game, on the low end for that matter. But if it's not producing winning basketball, there's going to be a major problem. If despite going out there and putting up good points and being productive independently, and it still results in you being down on the scoreboard, in this sense by 17 points or by 12 points, it's not going to work. Now, Bam Adebayo, you may be thinking, Houston, these numbers are skewed. He's being thrown in harder situations. Well, Bam Adebayo played a lower amount of minutes in the game against Atlanta. He played 2 less minutes. He played 19 total minutes. He produced 13 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists. No steals, no blocks, with a plus-minus of plus 11. He was 4 of 11 from the field. He missed all 3 of his three-point shots and shot 7 free throws, making 5 of them. He also did not have a turnover or a personal foul. There's a difference here. Bam Adebayo has been very, very good in this league for a handful of years now and is only getting better as the years go on. But now he gets the opportunity to really coach and lead the way for someone in Kel'el Ware, who statistically has the ability to go out there and produce abnormal numbers. And we've seen it not only in the preseason, but last year in the regular season when he was playing spotty minutes in a very interesting situation. But now, the Miami Heat changing the way they play and trying to give Kel'el Ware the opportunity to really bloom and blossom and take a major step. It's going to be interesting to see how things all play out with Kel'el Ware specifically and whether or not he will be able to maintain a starting spot in comparisons to guys like Jovic, who plays a different brand of basketball that seems like it's producing a higher level of plus and a higher level of plus and minus, and also it feels like Spo enjoys what he's seeing more from Jovic than what he's seeing from Kel'el Ware up to this point. And if Ware can flip that switch and find a way where these plus minuses aren't so drastically negative and where he's maintaining even, if not sitting on the positive side of things because of the great play that he can go out there and produce, he will be a player that can never come out of the lineup, whether it's in the starting position as a center or playing next to Bam Adebayo and really running a universal big. But now, quickly to break down the last 2 things, again, just real quick, the side-by-side game stats, the head-to-head scores for Miami against Orlando, as well as last night's game against the Hawks. Few things that we've broken down and talked about at a ridiculous rate this offseason and through the training camp period of things for Miami. The inability last year to run in the fast break, rebound effectively, and then push the ball down the floor, resulting in easy baskets without relying in a half-court set offensively, was not okay. And it can't continue to happen if Miami wants to be better than they are really being rated to up to this point in the year. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, let's look at the games last year, and then let's look at the games that we saw tonight, or excuse me, in the last 2 to 3 days. The numbers are so drastically different. Last year, they didn't do it at all. And if you look in the first game out of these 2 that we're going to compare, they had 41 rebounds to 60 rebounds to Orlando. They got out-rebounded by 19 in a basketball game. It's impossible. It's almost 100%, but I would call it 98.999% chance of losing a basketball game. You get out-rebounded by 9 in. Mind you, they had 20 assists to Orlando's 23. If you look at the rebounding numbers overall, that wasn't great, or excuse me, the turnover numbers overall, 19 to 15 in favor of Orlando, or excuse me, in the favor of Miami, yes, But with those turnovers, how many points did they score on fast breaks? Well, Miami had 6 points on the fast break to Orlando's 13. And again, the turnover ratio, 15 for Miami, 19 for Orlando. So Miami, despite having an advantage in the sense of not turning the ball over as much as Orlando, still couldn't score as many points as the Orlando Magic did in the fast break, with also 13 steals by Miami in that game, just for some perspective in how Miami is just failing to get out and run with the basketball. Now to continue with, to finally wrap this up for the game last night against the Atlanta Hawks. Again, it's just horrible. Fast break points, 11 to the Atlanta Hawks 10. Obviously, we didn't get killed, but 19 turnovers for Miami, as well as only 70 rebounds. Good night on the boards, which is good to see. But overall, not being able to get out in the fast break is going to be absolutely gruesome if Miami cannot make a change. Let me know down below what are your overall thoughts and opinions, not only on Kel'el Ware and his play, but also Bam Adebayo and the injury and the bullet the Miami Heat dodged, as well as the changes to this Miami Heat offense. Thank you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.